at all that, getting hit multiple times. Coming out of that bike section, more drivers coming to blows.
Well, hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome back to the Formula V Weekend Warriors. This is round number 4 of this season, coming to you today from Summit Point. My name is Ron Maunz, and alongside me, working the comms and the cams as always, is Joshua Wilkie. Well, Josh, we've been here before. We've been here many, many times before. This was the site of my first ever broadcast here on SMB back in July of 2024. So I feel like the Formula V's and the Summit Point, it's a combination that we know. It's one that we know maybe a little bit too well, probably better than any other combination in the sim. But we know that it's exciting. We know that it's occasionally hectic, and we know that we're probably going to get treated to a darn good race here today too.
Yeah, I'd have to say that's probably true, Ron. It is true that we've been here many, many times. So have the drivers, and they're going to know this place really, really well. That can, make things a little bit difficult out there. It can make fireworks happen for sure. Watching Andrew Love here, sponsor of today's race, go through one of the more difficult sections there with that massive sandbox on the outside of it to catch you. I'm sure we're going to see a few drivers off into that section. They're coming into a more technical section here where where kind of all the paychecks are made, I would say, through this section here. You need to be able to be pretty clean and fast through here and consistent for the whole race. To be able to have a chance down that front straight, don't you, Ron? And it's not an easy one. You know, even though we've been here a bunch of times, this has a unique set of challenges every time.
Yeah, it is a tough nut to crack. This place, one of the oldest scans in the sim, and it kind of shows at some points in time. However, this is a blast from the past racetrack. It is synonymous with Mid-Atlantic Amateur Sports Car Racing, and Andrew Love, the sponsor of today's broadcast here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. We ride on board with him right now. He usually works the sound around this place, checking everybody's sound levels to make sure any of the doves or the birds, or I don't know exactly what sort of wildlife is down there in West Virginia, isn't disturbed. There's nothing around there. I say that. My aunt, God rest her soul, she used to live a little bit farther away from this track, a couple of hours away in a small town called Reedy. Let's do an onboard lap here with Andrew Love, heading his way off through turn number 1 and 2. Probably one of the best overtaking opportunities on the entire season. Not even just this lap, certainly the lap, but the entirety of the season for that matter. Then we head our way off through turn number 3. Quick little kink. I'll worry about that gravel trap on the outside. That gravel always looms quite ominously over these racers. But there's another tough turn as well. Turn number 4 and 5, right before this little midsection of the track. The tapeworm section, for lack of a better term. It's wiggling around there, and there's nothing you can really do to stop it. That sounded kind of gross. Heading your way off through 6 and 7 right now, in through 8 and 9. This little mini S section is enough to keep these drivers on their toes as you try and build that momentum up through the slowest part of the racetrack into the fastest part of the racetrack right here, trying to shave off as much distance as you can on the right-hand side as you head your way under the bridge and set yourself up into the final turn. Turn number 10 here around this lap at Summit Point. It's a quick ride, even in a low-power Formula V, developing about as much horsepower as a microwave, but that right there is a lap from Andrew Love, and one of the most disgusting similes I've ever made as well.
Yeah, that's a lap we've seen many, many times, and it looks like he's going to Shadow Realm it here into the bush. One of these some pretty close, I would say, boundaries there when it comes to this track. I've noticed I've gone off track here a few times too, and you end up just ballparking it back to the pit lane if you get anywhere near the forest there, I'm assuming, because they don't want people smashing into trees and having a little too much fun around here. But here's Michelle Lynn, 6th place so far, 7th now, bumped to 7th by Parvinder Ladar. Not doing too bad this season at all. A little bit less anvils this season than other seasons, I would say, and definitely has the speed out there. You know, this place, again, we've all been here so many times, it kind of can be anybody's game, especially, you know, it gives you a little bit of maybe, I don't know, a little bit of extra clout maybe when you're driving around here, when you've been here so many times, and you can kind of start to expect things from the track, expect results, and that can end up being a bad thing sometimes. There's a lot of drivers out here who know this place really well, are probably expecting you know, a certain kind of finish around here, and if you go into it with that mindset, it can really get you sometimes. Sometimes it can work for you. You can be a little extra pointy, but you know, every once in a while that confidence can kind of work against you here. As Michelle Lynn now down into 8th place. I do believe I saw a couple fast laps still happening out there, Ron, so there's still some all to be played for here, but pretty close up at the front.
Yeah, rather close between these racers. It helps that they've been here so many times. It gives the opportunity for those Masters racers to have a very good shot to try and get the overall win here. It's been a while since we saw a non-Spec 1 overall race winner here in this series, probably a couple of seasons. Now that I think about it, maybe we could see that trend get broken here today. For round number 4 of this season, I want to thank you all for tuning into the action on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Andrew Love, your current professional pole sitter. Tortolo already has a win thus far this season, is slotted in 2nd, not able to jump up to the pole. But you look at your top 6, 4 of them are Masters racers, 2 of them are Spec 1, and 1 of them is a driver that we rarely, if ever, see in these Formula Vs. Ian Joyner has come among us, a past champion in the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors in the Spec 1 category, the reigning champion in the Spec Racer Fords in the Spec 1 category, and now trying his hand at Spec 1 racing in a Formula V.
Yeah, it's awesome to have Ian out here for sure. He's you know, a staple of kind of our other series there as well, and always does very, very well. This man is a very fast driver behind the wheel of any car, as we've seen. Looks like he's got a pretty cool livery on this machine as well. So good to have him out here as well. Up into 4th place already in the 22 car with a 127 186. Just behind him, a 127.240, and then Jim Brewster in 6th place with a 27.290. So pretty close stuff there. Andrew Love, though, definitely he is pick of the litter here with the 127.089, almost getting into the 126s there for Andrew Love. So today's race sponsor, I think maybe he picked a track he's fairly good at. You think, Ron?
Yeah, it's one that he's been at in real life. Seems to be very quick. I see a abundance of meatball flags. I know exactly what that is for, and I'm not even going to entertain that. We'll say two of the drivers that picked up a meatball flag are actually our top two in Spec 2. Dan Szynski and Martin Visser qualified in 10th and 11th right now. Pretty good qualifying session from them, and a pretty stacked field that we have got all in all. Some returning names, including this man, Parvinder Ladar, past Spec 2 champion here in this series. Really showed some good form in the past here in the Spec 1 category, including, I can't remember 2 seasons ago whether it was a win for him or a near win. Certainly got close to it. I may have to fact check myself there. But Lador shown the pace once again, currently qualified in P7 right in front of series admin Michelle Lynn.
Yeah, I believe maybe one of the last times we spoke to Parvinder Ladar, he did actually mention that he'd be taking a little bit of a break, I believe, and that we wouldn't see him for a little while. So it's really good to have Parvinder back. Hopefully we will see him more often. Always good to have him up at the front. He's always, he's always in our mouths here during the race. He's going to be up front. He's going to be fighting for position and stuff. So it's great to have Parvinder back, man. Good to have the number 3 back. Looks like he's put himself up into 6th place here for his return. So far, not a bad place to return to, I suppose, when you've been here so many times. Excuse me. Nate Colasio as well. I don't believe we've seen him in a little while either, and he is back in 13th place, not currently on track, or maybe he is, and the cameras are just acting a little bit funny here. There he is in the Chiquita car, number 8. Always good to have him out there as well. Not really punching in where he would usually be here with a 13th place. Usually have him at least up into the top 10, top 5, so probably see him poke a lap in here by the end. Maybe we'll keep an eye on his lap here. But, like we were saying before, so much experience around here for most of the drivers. I know I've driven around here. I mean, every time I come here, I know exactly kind of my lap and what I'm going to go and put down. There's still a few places on this track that sort of elude me. He's going through one of them now. Not exactly the easiest place, and honestly, I'm always thinking about this final corner throughout the entire lap, how I'm going to get this one right. You have to get it millimeter perfect to really extract the time down this front straightaway. And it's not quite as easy as it looks. It looks like a very simple corner, but you really do have to get that apex just right.
Yeah, there are many turns around this racetrack where it seems easy, but the more you look into it, the harder it is. But I think one driver that we can probably trust the judgment of is your current pole sitter and sponsor of today's broadcast here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, that being Andrew Love, who we can drag in to have a quick little chat with before we go racing here today for round number 4 of the season. Andrew Love now joining us in the booth. Andrew, welcome in. First off, with only a few minutes left to go here in qualifying, it's looking pretty good for you to be starting up at the front, maybe exactly up at the front, currently holding on to the provisional pole right now. We know your relationship with this track usually working sound here, but really feeling comfortable in qualifying, huh?
Yeah, I was. I did 3 pretty good laps. I'm very happy with them. They would have all put me in the top 5. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really surprised that I was able to hold on to the pole for the entire qualifying session, if it holds.
Yeah, of course, the pole overall and the other pole position in the Masters category as a result. We were talking a few moments ago about how a track like this is kind of a Masters dream in a way. With age comes wisdom. I feel like in a draft-heavy race like this, you need to have a level head on your shoulders to be able to tackle this race effectively and actually see the checkered flag.
That is true. Last night at the draft party, we did have some difficulty with it. But during the draft party, we like to take chances and try different lines and things. So we were doing silly things that you wouldn't do in a race, hopefully, like 3 wide through turn 3 and 3 wide through turn 1.
We might see that. We might see it in a race, maybe.
Yeah. But the draft party was a lot of fun, and thanks to Jim for hosting the draft party. And speaking of Jim, hi, Tam. Hope you're out there watching.
Cheers.
I forgot to say hello to for your birthday last time I was being interviewed. So, hey, Tam. I love the track. This is where I spend my weekends when I'm doing racing stuff. Sitting under the canopy, halfway down the main straight on the right-hand side. Basically right where the cars land when they do the jump. That's where I'll be sitting.
Well, thankfully, you won't be out there on the racetrack here when some Formula Vs go flying once we've got the checkered flag. That,
Yeah, you don't want to be sitting there.
I feel like that would have to be some sort of like visit to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
For both yourself having a Formula V land on top of you and the drivers landing down on the ground.
I've had honestly in the real life, I had a couple cars come close. There was a sports racer guy that hit the jump, hit the berm back when the berm was there, and he kind of landed in that open area between in the second access road. And we've had some improved touring cars kind of bounce over the tire wall in front of us. And there's actual real famous video out there about a Spec Miata crashing and going right into the wall right in front of us.
Oh. Wild.
So you guys can look that one up on YouTube.
Definitely will.
So that's me on the radio calling the emergency.
Huh.
So, yeah. It's a beautiful day here in the DC area. It's a beautiful day at Summit Point, and looking forward to a good race.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure. Andrew, we'll hope to speak with you once we're done with this race.
Okay, me too. All right, see you guys around.
Good luck.
Yep, stand by that. That right there was Andrew Love, the sponsor of this broadcast. And with a minute left to go in qualifying, Josh, in fact, less than that, 45 seconds, I think Andrew Love may have this.
Yeah, it looks like today's sponsor is gonna take the pole today. So no pressure or anything, Andrew. It's no big deal. You just sponsored the race, and you're in pole, and you're at Summit Point, and there's a bunch of cars behind you. But hey, we're gonna wish him the best out there, and we know he's got the speed. We know he's got the racecraft. So he's got Tor behind him. He's got Alan DeGassis, Nate Colascio, Ian Joyner. These are all amazing drivers. You know, you couldn't line up with a better group of drivers behind you. You know, in this kind of a situation, right? So. I would imagine he's going to stay out there and do his very best. But man, you know, Tortello, the likes of Alan DeGassis, Nate Colascio, Ian Joyner, you know, a bit of a wild card today. Who knows, Ron? It really could be anybody's game out there as qualifying ends here with Andrew Love in the pole position.
Yeah, and I was wondering whether or not a driver like Jesus Rodriguez or maybe potentially Sam Chapman was able to get that, but they did not. As the drivers now line up on that provisional starting grid before they start off on this formation lap. Let's take a look at our starting grid here for round number 4 of the Formula V Weekend Warriors here. And it is going to be Andrew Love starting from the pole position. Tortello set to join him on the front row off the back of a real-life win in Locust cars at Donington Park not too long ago. Gotta look to try and keep that form running here in this sim. Starting this race in third will be Alan DeGassis. Next to him will be Nate Colascio. Ian Joyner will start this race in fifth. Next to him will be Antonio Reese. Parviner Ladar in his series debut in the Bada Bing car will start in P7 with Guido Marzucchi in the less attractive fart machine starting in 8th. Jim Brewster will be in 9th. Michelle Lynn will complete your top 10. Christopher Siriano will start this race in 11th. Next to your Spec 2 pole sitter of Dan Szynski in 12th. P13 will be Martin Visser. P14 will be Kurt Nunez. Brian Hansen will start this race in 15th place next to Rob Wright, the Canadian, in the number 11 car in P16. Angel Soto will be right behind in 17th. He'll be alongside Sam Chapman, the Aussie, in the Vermilion Esports car. Stephen Westcott will be in 19th. Stevie Ray, series admin, will complete your top 20. Nick Tullo will start this race in 21st. Joshua Justice will be alongside in 22nd. Scott Brailer in the 210 car will be in 23rd next to Ken Poulin in 24th place. And then rounding out our field here tonight will be Wayne Buttermore and Gary Kittle, Jesus Rodriguez, and Jason Grider. 30 drivers set to grab the green flag here in a couple of moments' time. He says tonight, well, it's tonight if you're racing in Europe like Jesus Rodriguez. I guess it does work out there. Past champion in this series, actually won the championship in season 2 of 2024. No, it was season 3 of 2024. It was right when we started broadcasting these. I believe he was running up towards the front in the very first Formula V Weekend Warriors race that we covered here on Slow Motion Broadcasting all those moons ago. I was doing that with their old pal Tim Cox, and I was leading for that show. It was the first time I led a broadcast outside of the broadcast I started doing over on PBS Kids, and oh boy. But let's take a look here as the field heads their way around the final turn onto that start-finish straightaway. Happy to have you with us here on Slow Motion Broadcasting for round number 4 of the Formula V Weekend Warriors at Summit Point. It's going to be a wild one, and it all starts right about now. The green flag flies. The drivers are on their way, and we're racing here in the Mid-Atlantic countryside. Andrew Love going to lead him, the Pied Piper of the field, as they head their way down to turn number 1, breaking out frantic already. We ride on board with Jim Brewster, looking at that rush hour traffic going on right up in front of him, as all around him, it's side by side, 3 wide and contact farther behind.
Yeah, I believe, I'm not sure, I'm not going to say who that was quite yet. I think I know who it was, but unfortunately just getting hawked off the track there right away. Having a fairly clean start up front. Tortullo going to pull out into the lead before the third corner here, going around this very difficult, and see if anybody makes this one wide. It looks like we're all going to be nice and clean through there now, getting into the more technical section here. Very difficult spot to kind of gauge your braking around this first lap when there's so many cars around you. Looks like everybody's doing a very good job. Jim Brewster filing in there, Dan Trzynski filing in there. We're looking pretty clean here so far on. So with a little incident there, I believe that was Brian Hansen kind of getting pushed to the wayside there early on, but Tortello's going to lead us here on our first lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hansen has had to tow along with Ken Poulin, so 2 drivers dropping out, falling by the wayside before we even got halfway through the first lap of the race. As they head their way down into the final turn, it's going to be Tortello holding on to the race lead. He got it over Andrew Love, who's still directly behind him in P2. The following 4 drivers all remaining in exactly the same spot that they started in, but as they head their way across the stripe, Andrew Love going to look to try and take the race lead once more. Tello maybe got chewed up and spat out. I thought Nate Coliseo in that Chiquita Banana car was going to try and slip past, but he thought better of it. Side by side for first, side by side for third, side by side for fifth as well. Formation flying, a 6-pack of V's as they head their way out of turn number 1 and 2. Tello going to look to hold on to the race lead, but Andrew Love now looking just as barely cling on to a podium spot as they're 3 wide into turn number 3. Coliseo jumps into second. DeGassis takes the Masters lead. He now holds on to the final podium spot. Andrew Love now looking to get his bearing straight from 4th.
Fantastic to watch them see that coming there and sort it out, that you cannot go too wide through there and expect good things to happen. Either A, you are going to get shuffled backwards by losing a ton of speed going 2 wide or 3 wide, or you're going to end up in the kitty litter sideways, and you just can't do that. So it was great to see everybody formation flying there and then filing into line really quickly and very professionally, as well as we're kind of going to move back in the pack here. Angel Soto in the WD car, having a look at Brent Thompson in front of him. So there's battles all over the place. Should mention as well, Joshua Justice is with us today. Not somebody we see often in the V's. He has been more often this season, but great to see him out there in 15th. Expect to see him move forward a little bit there with that real world racecraft. Tortello leading, Nate Coliseo, Alan DeGassis, and then Andrew Love has been pushed back to 4th, now 5th. Ian Joyner has just gotten by him side by side again, Ron, into T1. We are side by side, 2-3 packs in a row, and we're going to keep it this way, aren't we? Probably most of the race. It's, we want to get all like that every time they go into T1, but if we do it, it's going to be every lap, and I don't know how I can do that every lap.
Yeah, you and me both. You and me both there, Mr. Wilkie. This is kind of the start of every single Summit Point race. Everybody throwing bare-knuckle fists at each other until somebody ends up butt first on the ground. And then they fracture their tailbone. Yeah, look at this. Tortello leading the world, as you can just see franticness right behind him. Nate Coliseo trying to find any way in the book, not only to hold on to P2, but maybe jump into that race lead. I'm not seeing that Fernando Alonso drooping helmet there on that race car for him there as well. In all of this battling, we were going to have to talk about a breakaway of your top 6. Forget that. It is pretty much all the way back to Jim Brewster in 10th, where that front pack ends. And even then, you only have to go about 7/10 of a second behind to find Martin Visser. So it's certainly close. The one break that we've got right now is Brett Thompson with the Maryland flag car, currently running in P15. He's about 2 seconds back of Kurt Nunez.
Yeah, and that's going to be our closest battle in S2 as well. So ahead of him, Martin Visser, a few places ahead. Looks like a bit of a chasm at the moment here. To jump back up front here, where we are going to be going pack driving, 4, 6 wide here into, or 2 packs of 6 cars, sorry, wide into T1. And I think we're going to see that over and over again into that corner until, like you said, until the pressure finally does release. Maybe there's an incident. Maybe somebody makes a little bobble and that pack breaks up a little bit. Ian Joyner going to hang around the outside of Nate Colacio here through that difficult left-hander. Tor still holding on as Alan DeGassis is now going to look around the outside of this corner, which becomes the inside of the next corner. He may have a chance here in the 927, but he is going to back out of it a little bit. And I think, honestly, that's by design, Ron. I don't think he wants to get in front of Tor just yet. You don't want to lead this. You want Tor leading this. He's got perhaps a little bit more raw pace, and I would probably want him to be in front most of this race if I was behind him.
Yeah, no, the best spot to be in one of these races is all the way up at the front. You don't have to worry about all the chaos. If there's anybody who knows a good spot to be in one of these races, it's our old Weekend Warriors friend Megan Overstreet. When we first saw the Formula V's broadcasted here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, she actually broke away to a massive gap, just left the rest of the field in her dust. Didn't have to worry about anybody. These racers, though, they could only dream of something like that. Look at this. 3 wide racing. Colacio, DeGassis, and Tullo. Tortolo going to be stuck on the outside. Ian Joyner looking to punch his way up there. Will he be able to get into the top 3? No, he will not, as he's definitely clinging on for that P4 spot with Andrew Love right behind him, and Guido Marzucchi, who waited until the dying breath of that qualifying session to finally set a lap, ended up starting this race in P8. He's currently running in 6th at the moment.
Yeah, he's made his way up through the field here a little bit, hasn't he? But this line of V's, wow, that is a long line of V's. This is really anybody's race at this point. This is, you know, again, you said earlier, Ron, and quite aptly there, that at some point this pressure just needs to let go. You would think. Sometimes you can get through an entire race like this where everybody's just pack driving, but it's fairly rare for this many cars to be in a row like this for an entire 30 minutes without something happening. And honestly, it's a beautiful sight at the moment right here. Everybody almost perfectly in a line, almost perfectly gapped from one another. It's pretty awesome to watch here for sure. So we'll see how much longer it can go on, as Nick Colacio now is going to make his play for the lead of this race in the number 8 car in the Banana Chiquita flavored car. There is going to take P1 for probably not very long here into T1, as Tor already hunting around behind him. Alan DeGassis and Ian Joyner with a good run here. Not going to be an easy one. This is, again, big decision making, isn't it, Ron? What do you do right now? Do you make that gap and try to shoot up the middle and just take it? Do you try to go too wide through it? You have all the options in front of you every lap coming into T1 here, and it is going to really be about who makes good decisions and who kind of plays that chess game correctly.
Yeah, every single one of these drivers, I wouldn't say has the exact same hand of cards, but they are somewhat similar to each other. It's all a matter of who can play that hand that they are dealt the best. If they can do that well, they'll be tasting the champagne at the end of this race. If not, they're probably going to be tasting exactly what the thermometer tastes like in the infield care center. We've brought on board with Antonio Reese, currently holding on to a good spot. It's disgusting to say this. He's running in 7th right now, pretty much in the middle of this hornet's nest up at the front, 14 cars strong. You run out of the superlatives after doing enough of these races. You truly run out of things to say. Brian Szynski as well asking what happened there at the start. We saw the drama go on with the likes of Ken Poulin. May need to load up the replay. I think it was just a classic turn 1 stack up here.
Oh, a little bit more spicy than I had originally thought it was there. So that was not Brian Hansen's fault whatsoever by the looks of it there, as a car got into him from behind. Let's have another quick peek at that. So we're going to see, I believe that's Kurt Nunez just in front of him there, got into, and then Nunez got into the 771. So totally out of Brian Hansen's hands there. Unfortunately, just a bystander in that one.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate. Again, it's the stack up heading down into turn number 1. Everybody's so close to one another. One driver hitting the brakes. It's like being on the road and not really trusting the driver directly behind you and being scared whenever you slam on the brake pedal. Look at that move that Ian Joyner just pulled off there. I was too busy talking about, driving around and being worried about a driver rear-ending you. But Ian Joyner sweeping around the outside as he headed his way off through turn number 3, jumps into the race lead. Tortello thought about going forward, heading off into turn number 5. You talked about it earlier on in this broadcast, Josh. That 4 through 9 section is really scary. Even though it may be the slowest part of this racetrack by a long way, it is still rather treacherous as we take a look at that battling there. Joyner was already able to get the nose at, but Tullo able to keep that momentum rolling on the outside all through turn number 1 and 2. So Joyner had to fight back in a big way into 3.
Yeah, this isn't one you see very often here, and again, you're going to need a stack of good drivers here to even allow that one to happen, but he's able to make that awesome move because of good drivers like Tor and Alan DeGassis driving around in Coliseum, and the likes of such drivers here, as we are again going to be pack driving in to T1. We are 3 wide. Alan DeGassis on the inside, Tor Tullo on the outside. Nate Coliseum is the banana in the middle, and he's going to make that gap. He's going to shoot straight through there and take the lead of this race. Ian Joyner showing some serious grit here up front, so he's not letting go of that position. He's definitely got pace on merit, and he's going to be part of this conversation for sure. Guido Marzucci now looking forward, going, how did this happen? There's a bunch of cars in front of me and they're all really, really fast. He's back trying to figure out exactly what it is he's going to do to get back up front here, but maybe in a fairly good position at the moment here, just sort of observing everything that's going on in front of him. Today's race sponsor, Andrew Love, as well, in good position in 5th place here, just kind of observing everything around him, trying to figure out what it is he can do to get back in to that final or that first position here before the race is out, back into 5th place so far. So things maybe not working out exactly the way he wanted them to, but certainly not out of the fight yet.
Yeah, we are still far from the checkered flag, and I always bring up the concept of phases in these races, where you have phase 1 where everybody's battling hard, and then something goes down. There's always that extra shoe waiting to drop, maybe the falling anvil waiting to drop. Then when that goes down, everybody's like, okay, let's settle down, let's relax, let's take it easy. And then you get off into another phase where another incident goes down, and that sets us up for the end stage where everybody just battles like absolute maniacs, sensing a shot at glory. 5 cars all running under the same blanket as they headed their way into turn number 1. Nate Coliseum and Ian Joyner side by side for the race lead. Tortello right behind, not really sure what to do. He's going to go side by side now with Coliseum. He'll be stuck on the outside off into 3, but we saw Ian Joyner pull off a move like this earlier on. Will we see the same look from Coliseum? We will not. He slips on that banana peel, slips his way down into 3rd.
Yeah, that one's not always going to work out there, and you need kind of a willing participant as well for that one to kind of to work out the way you want it to, as we're going to continue squabbling here down into the more technical section of the track here. A little bit of a wavering, bit of a wiggle there from Tortello. Had a bit of a moment in the number 1 car. Looks like he's going to hold on to it for now, though. Gave him the room to make that tiny little mistake there, and he's going to keep on trucking. Ian Joyner, though, showing kind of class of the field at the moment, Ron. So, you know, our new driver here, not new to the series, or sorry, not new to the Weekend Warriors, not new to iRacing or our screens here, but definitely fairly new to the Formula V's, is going to be pulling the lead in the 22 car. So we'll see. Tortello may have another competitor on his hands, as well as the rest of these drivers out there have another competitor. So they're going to go 2 wide here into T1 again. Tortello going to probably take this one into T1, as Nate Coliseum has a look on here and see if he can't monopolize on that move and wedge through the 22, and he's actually going to make that happen as Alan DeGassis hunts around behind him.
Yeah, so as we continue to see these racers just throwing haymakers at each other, it's been a frantic start to this race, that I can confirm, but are we surprised? No, not really. It's Summit Point. It is always going to be a wild one. Looking at this train of cars now going side by side. Tortello fighting back into turn number 4. Don't usually see a driver go for a move like that, and that is for good reason. It could very easily end in catastrophe as, sideways snap there from Joyner. Is going to lose that on some time off through 5. Tullo taking that race lead, fighting back. You know, these racers have driven around this track enough whereby they're probably confident enough going for some moves that are a little bit out of the blue.
Yeah, I'd say so, and that was probably one of them right there. You know, that move was set up a couple corners before it actually happened, and you know, it was a pretty aggressive move around the outside that you wouldn't maybe always do. You know, a driver like Tortello, of course, showing that. And I think, honestly, you know, as he did it, I'm thinking to myself, this is the point in the race when you want to show that kind of skill and that type of aggression right there. You're sending a message to the likes of Colacio and DeGassis behind here that I am going to put that car, in places that maybe you wouldn't expect it, as they're going to go again 3 wide into T1 here. Colacio is going to be in the middle of that sandwich once again, and it looks like Ian Joyner's probably going to win out on this particular corner, but they are going to continue 2 wide into this left-hander. I'm surprised seeing them not sort it out through this section of the course before they get there, because it really does slow you down quite a bit. But sometimes necessity being the mother of invention, it just has to happen. You just have to be there. You just have to try to get this pass done, or else you lose out on that position. So Colacio, again, showing some really good aggression, some really good mid-race aggression here to kind of show his head, show everybody, hey, listen, I'm here. I'm in the number 8. Don't forget about me. I haven't been up front too much yet, but I am going to continue taking that. I'm not just going to give it to you either. I'm going to fight in places of the track that maybe you wouldn't expect. Same with Tor.
Yeah, we always know that Tortello is the photo finish maestro. In fact, he even made a joke about that when he was talking in the Formula V Discord about his win at Donington in real life the other day, saying, yeah, in true me fashion, I ended up winning that race by only 0.4 of a second. So I guess some of the jokes that we make here on these broadcasts end up translating into real life. It's funny how the world works like that. But he's gotten a good view of some battling. He may now get involved into it himself. That was terrible grammar. My English teacher would not be proud of me right now. Just kidding, she never was. Tortello, Joyner, and Colacio side by side. Colacio saying, nope, I'm backing out of that, as Joyner not going to hold on to the inside line. Tullo trying to sweep around the outside, even though the asphalt at many parts of this racetrack is as patchy as my face when I was 14. There is still some grip to be found there when it is not completely marbled up and really, really dusty. And Tullo proving that every single time a driver goes for the move on him down the inside into turn number 1 and 2, he uses that momentum and just gets it back into 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's going to be him just showing, that, hey, I can do this. You keep doing that to me, I'm going to keep doing it to you here. And it might be a good idea. I mean, again, it's awesome to watch the racing, and it's hard when you're out there not to want to jockey for position. But staying in position, staying in line, not fighting quite as hard will get you forward a little bit more. I think, this pack is so big that just kind of goes out the window. You can't expect so many drivers, so many heads to be thinking the same thing at the same time, and somebody's always going to try. It only takes one to kind of set that whole pack off. So if everybody in a line of 10 cars decides they're going to play ball, but one doesn't, now nobody's playing ball again. And that's sort of the way it works out there, and we're seeing that happen right in front of us. I just went back there and had a look at Martin Visser, Brett Thompson. They were a little closer together than they are now. That gap has definitely broken up, so not much of a fight for S2 at the moment. The fight is definitely up at the front here. Ian Joyner, Alan DeGassis, now Guido Marzucci has entered this fray with, I believe that is Tortello on the outside there as well, hanging tough. So we shall see, man. There's a lot of chess being played here, back and forth, and it's really just going to matter who can kind of figure that out for the end. Guido Marzucci now part of this story.
Yeah, a lot of drivers proving, hey, I'm in it to win this race. I have a very good shot of doing well here. I know this combination like the back of my hand. We look at the drivers in our top pack. They're either drivers that we have seen race here in the Formula Vs before, or just race in the Weekend Warriors, period, in the case of your race leader of Ian Joyner. But, we said this right at the top of the show. Joyner is the reigning champion in the SRFs. Now, granted, spec racer Ford and a Formula V, rather different in many aspects. I would say the handling characteristics are different. Certainly looks-wise, they are very different. There's one thing that is very similar between those two cars. The almighty powerful draft. That is one thing that Ian Joyner knows how to play, and he's playing it quite well, playing the field like a fiddle as he's holding on to that race lead as we head our way around the final turn. Now we're only 11 minutes away from the fall of the checkered flag. I think Joyner, he's certainly proven that in his very short, brief time here in this race. He's proving that he's going to be a formidable force as we get towards the end, as they're 3 wide once again into 1.
Yep, here we go again. Tortello looks like he's going to win on this particular occasion. Ian Joyner on the outside, Alan DeGassis on the inside in the 927. Guido Marzucci still having a look around. Andrew Love right beside him, today's race sponsor as well, is still definitely in this conversation here. You have Jim Brewster, and I believe that is Antonio Reese as well, just bringing up the rear here. Now we've decided that going too wide through here is no big deal. We're going to do it every lap. We're going to do it car behind car, row after row, 2 by 2 through most of the track. In pretty much every section of the course, I think we've gone too wide now, at least. And it looks like we're going to continue to do that until the end. This is definitely where the fight is. A couple more fights happening back here. I believe this is Jesus Rodriguez, Stevie Ray, and Brett Thompson having a bit of a battle here with Joshua Justice in the fray as well. We'll try to keep an eye on this one as well, but so much happening, of course, up at the front. Hard to jump back too far. Raphael Boley back here with Stephen Westcott, Wayne Buttermore, Angel Bolina, Soto, Gary Kittle, Dan Trzynski, Michelle Lynn, and then Brian Hansen with that unfortunate incident in the beginning there is going to be bringing up pretty much the rear of today's race. Jason Grider and Scott Brayler just behind him. Ken Poulin in the pit as we speak here. But up front, we are going to go 2 wide into T1 once again here. This gaggle of cars here, this schmozzle of cars. I'm pretty impressed that nobody has touched a wheel, nobody has spun, nobody has made a abrupt or scary move quite yet, as Alan DeGassis in the middle of Marzucci and Andrew Love there. Looking pretty good up front here still.
I didn't have a good feeling about Guido going for the move into turn number 1. I'll be completely honest. That's why I sounded like a cat that got ran over on its foot there. That was... but Guido holding on to P5 at the moment. I think has a very good shot to try and get this race win. As here we go, Tortello fighting down the inside into turn number 4, but Ian Joyner going to hold on to the inside into 5 through the braking zone. They're going to go. If Tullo could sweep around the outside, this move could be his, and it is his. That was fantastic stuff. We're seeing a battle of the titans between these two of them being past champions here in the Weekend Warriors world.
Yeah, that was some great fighting there through the more technical section of the course. Kind of brought the rest of this pack a little bit closer together once again now. Not that they were very far behind in the first place, but yeah, as you said, looks like Ian Joyner and Tortello here have found each other as far as dueling partners back and forth for the lead of this race here. Looks like Andrew Love, Alan DeGassis, Guido Marzucci, the likes of the rest of these drivers a little bit happy at the moment to just kind of allow this to happen. At least till the end of the race. And that's kind of what I would be doing too. If I could stay with them at least to the end of the race, then maybe you have a chance to make something happen, as Guido Marzucci has had enough, and he is going to go up the middle, take the lead of this race in the fart machine. So he has decided that he doesn't like what I'm saying here. He's just going to take the lead of the race and go for it. And that's probably what you need to do right about now as well. So proud of Guido here for just doing it, just getting up front, see what you can do. And that is really, excuse me, push Tortello to the back here a little bit, back into 6th place now. Quick how easy it can happen in one corner run.
Yeah, one little blink, you're going to miss it, and that's exactly what we saw go on there. Guido jumps his way up into that top spot after running in 5th only a few moments ago, and he's maybe going to feel slightly comfortable as Andrew Love looked at a move on Ian Joyner, wasn't able to get it done, but he was certainly close. He was certainly thinking about it as they headed their way into turn number 5. Those moves into turn number 5 have been more abundant here than I think in many of our past runnings of this race here, with the V's running at Summit Point. Fascinating to see that go on here. I have to ask some of these racers whether it's just the confidence of running this track, or maybe something with some of the recent iRacing updates has helped these drivers have the ambition and ability to try and get those moves done. Of course, maybe a little bit of experimentation going down in the draft parties on Fridays. But speaking of draft party, here we go. Ian Joyner's partying. Guido certainly isn't, and he's going to get chewed up and spat out by the field as he's now stuck 3 wide on the inside. Little bit of contact as they headed their way down the start-finish stretch into turn number 1. He fights back, nearly goes alongside with Ian Joyner, but that was himself, Love, and Antonio Reese, who nearly formed a 3-car pincer movement against the trees in the runoff area.
Yeah, that was as close as you want it there. The 914 just drifting over a little bit, almost ended everybody's day there. That was a really, really close one. So a little bit of spatial awareness needed there perhaps, but we're going to get away with that one. Hopefully we can do it again here. Ian Joyner taking the lead of this one. Andrew Love just behind him. So we have reshuffled, reordered here a little bit. Guido Marzucci in 3rd. We have, I believe that's Tortello back in 6th now. Jim Brewster just in front of him. So yeah, all to play for out there. Still at the 24-minute mark out of 30 minutes here. We are nearing the end of this race. That was about as close as you ever want to see it right there, and I think it was kind of the 914 that almost set that one off, kind of drifting a little bit over into Guido Marzucci. Whether that was intentional or not, to try to put in a little bit of intimidation, not something you want to see.
Yeah, definitely intimidating there. If I had that moment, I would need a change of pants after this race is done with. But I don't think these drivers are necessarily done with those code brown moments quite yet. We've still got 5 minutes left to go in this race. That is plenty of time left. 4 wide nearly. Oh my goodness gracious. Antonio thought about going for a pass off into the grass as they headed their way down into one. Guido sideways off through turn number 1. He holds on to a spot up in the front, still side by side between himself and Andrew Love. Jim Brewster right behind though, who is going to try and peek out of this fight next. This is getting really sketchy.
Yeah, that's about as sketchy as it can get right there. As I say that, it's getting sketchier by the second in through that section here. Coming into the kind of technical bits now, this is usually, you know, technically or traditionally where you want to kind of try to figure things out, and Guido is going to unfortunately spin out of this one. We'll go back and have a look at that after some really nice moves there. Unfortunately, it is going to get a little bit too boxed in, a little bit too crazy there, and Guido going to get squirted out the side of that one. We're going to have a look back at that shortly, but unfortunately, that's going to be Guido out of that fight. Let's go have a quick look here and see if we can't figure out exactly what happened.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of leverage in this, and there was the leverage point right there. Oh, Ian Joyner should be counting his lucky stars. The fact he's still in this race. That was massive contact between the two of them. Guido parking it on the rear axle. That is a karting-esque accident there. As we'll take a look at one last replay of it. Guido, there he is, heading his way into turn number 5. It just drifts a little bit. Actually, I'm not even going to say that's just him drifting. Wow, that's kind of two cars merging into one point out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like, again, just he's trying to go a little bit late into the corner. Ian Joyner's trying to tuck it in at the same time, and they just kind of met each other. So he was actually on the brakes really good there. It looked like it was actually going to work out. But again, the two drivers kind of looking for the same piece of track there at the same time, and Guido's going to lose out on that one, unfortunately. Looks like Ian Joyner, though, still ready to game here. He is up the inside of Tortello in a very tenuous spot right there. He's going to get this one done into there. Great driving, great racing out there today for sure, Ron. And hopefully your voice doing a little better there. I heard a little whoop on you. Oh, we may have lost Ron for a moment there. He's going to fix himself up. But just behind there, I did believe I peeped Andrew Love beside Antonio Reese. Or no, that is Sam Chapman. Sam Chapman has decided to show his face in this fight here. So he's made a bunch of positions up. He's now part of this lead fight. Somehow we missed that, Ron. He's up here with us. Tor is going to take the lead of this one. We can go back to Sam Chapman, see here exactly how he made it up. How many positions has he made up in this race? He's going to have made up 14 positions while we were up here just watching this race. So awesome for Sam Chapman. He could have quite the victory here as he's looking up the middle behind Tortello. He's going to have a look. It's all to play for here still.
Yeah, that it certainly is. Sam Chapman, a mighty drive for him, the hard charger, and I don't think he's settling for that 14 spots gain. I think he may want a couple more as we get towards the end of this race. 2 laps left to go here at Summit Point, and a whole lot left to be decided. Tortello, Ian Joyner side by side through 3. That's going to be Tortello's spot for the taking. The driver of the number 1 car holding on to P1, but Joyner going to look to fight back into turn number 4. These racers have been playing with fire in these side-by-side battles off through the mid-sector. It's usually a no-go zone. It's an exclusion zone to go side-by-side through here. These racers have been tempting fate, rolling the dice and seeing whether or not they get the snake eyes or double sixes. But as they get towards that checkered flag, Ian Joyner is going to be the one punching that hole in the air, and that's not the good spot to be in. The racers up at the top, they're going to have a slight bit of comfort in that battling for the win in the Masters category between Jim Brewster, Antonio Reese, Andrew Love, and Alan DeGassis. It's brought out a 0.6 of a second gap. Now that is very easy to make up, but it's not going to be like they're knocking right on the door as they head their way onto this start-finish straightaway through its entirety for the last time here in this race. Joyner and Tello side by side for the race lead. Sam Chapman having a wonderful view of this. I he's going to wait for that move off into the mid-sector. Although, here he goes, fighting down the inside. He thought about going for it for sure. Did not make the move stick. I think 3 wide racing into turn number 1 on the last lap would be a bit of a leap of faith, but they're still side by side. Joyner jumps into that top spot. Chapman now applying the pressure to Tullo. They're going to be side by side as they head their way into turn number 3. The shoe on the other foot for Tullo, going to be on the back foot as they head their way into the second sector, the middle sector of this lap for the final time. Ian Joyner, currently a race leader. That's not the good spot to be in. We've still got that massive run out of the final turn towards that start-finish straightaway. So whoever is in second may have a very good shot to do it. Tortello, he's desperately clinging onto that P2, trying to hold on to it and keep Ian Joyner within an arm's reach. He gets P2, but he wasn't able to do the ladder. You've got Ian Joyner now holding on to a half a second gap as they head their way off through turn number 9 for the final time here in this race. Will that be enough? Will that be enough for Tullo? Can he play with that? Can he work with that? Let's see. 3 tenths, 2 tenths, 2.5 tenths as they head their way into the braking zone for the final time. Tortello, the photo finish maestro here in these Formula Vs. Will he be able to get a run? You can see him closing up that gap as they head their way towards the stripe. Pulls out at the line, side by side, but he can give it there to Joyner.
Wow, that's about as close as you can get it again. And Ian Joyner going to take the win in one of his first outings here with the Formula Vs. We're going to go back all the way to 15th for our first S2 driver. If Martin Visser is going to take the win in S2, and of course Antonio Reese right up front, just jockeying with those lead drivers in the 914, is going to take the win in Masters. Jim Brewster as well with a great drive just behind him, totally up in the mix for that entire thing there. That really could have been kind of anybody's right at the end there, I think, and Ian Joyner is going to win out on that one. Amazing race for Sam Chapman as well. So huge props to him. Sorry we missed your charge through the field here. That was about 15 passes, I think, by the end of the race. He's going to put himself on the podium. So absolutely fantastic race. That might be one of the best overall races we have seen from any driver here in a long time, at least here from the 29. So awesome driving from Sam there. Good to have you back in the series. And Ian Joyner got a bit of an upset today, going to take that win up front in the 22 car. Great driving out there from everybody in this lead pack and all throughout the field.
Yeah, some incredible battling from the drop of the green flag through to the fall of the checkered. And what a fight back as we got towards the end there. I figured that side-by-side racing heading off through 5, 6, and 7 was maybe going to be Tortello's, not his downfall, but definitely a detriment as we got towards the end of that race. And it proved to be the case. I think Ian Joyner just had enough of a margin. And when you think about how close those two drivers were as they came across the line, the final margin of victory there was only 0.03 of a second. So that is, literally just closes up a tenth more as he headed his way off through that middle sector. That battle doesn't go down. And that gap that you see right there on screen, folks, that would have been easily surmounted there by Tortello, but it doesn't go that way. Instead, the victory goes to Ian Joyner. The little high five as they came across the stripe there, car to car. Thankfully, it didn't end in catastrophe for those two. Thankfully, it didn't end in catastrophe for the field at all throughout this race. Probably one of the smoother races that we have seen here at Summit Points in the Formula V Weekend Warriors. We'll have to see some of the jumping shenanigans. Golly. We'll have to see some of the jumping shenanigans here.
Here we go. We'll get a foul. Michelle in almost with a carbon copy of one she sent me last night where she actually landed all 4 wheels, and she got it again. You got all 4 wheels on the track on that one. Pretty awesome stuff. We should see probably some more drivers coming through here, I think, behind her, but we'll click on a couple just to get them out of the way. Here's Andrew Love, our race sponsor for today, sending it into the rhubarb here, and we're going to get car after car, I believe, doing this right after him, so we should have a few in a row here as the whole field ditches their cars.
Oh, and he didn't ballpark it there. I think Coliseo probably did there. That was
he blew our cameras.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, sometimes they just don't want to play ball.
The grandstands there. Yeah.
We'll see if we can maybe pick another one while we get these results up.
Oh yeah, here we go. This will be absolutely glorious. And
there we go.
A lot of drivers ballparking it there. Oh, look at Kurt Nunez just lawn darting it in there.
Oh,
that's a
roll
very
hoop dug in.
way that, yeah, dug into the grass. If we took a look at that roll hoop cam, we would probably be able to see the underworld Hades. Actually, no. You know, it's a little bit farther away. I think it's a 6-hour drive. We'd probably be able to see Centralia burning down.
Very nice. Let's see if I can get these overlays working, and we will get those results to you right away. I think they're coming. There they are.
Yeah, and here it is. Ian Joyner grabs the victory when it's all done here in this race. 0.03 of a second, the gap between those two. Stormer of a finish. Sam Chapman, he played spoilers, but at the end of it all, it's only 0.3 of a second back of your top two. Incredible stuff, as we usually expect here in this race. Finishing this race in 4th and grabbing the win in your Masters category is Antonio Reese. He finishes directly in front of Jim Brewster, series admin, in 5th. Nate Coliseo ends up in 6th with Alan DeGassis, in P7. Andrew Love, sponsor of this broadcast, ends up in 8th. So a very good result for a Masters driver. That's actually 4th of your Masters racers. Guido Marzuki, who we saw get pinged out of that battle, ends up in 9th with Kurt Nunez, completing your top 10.
And then in 11th, we have Rob Wright, Parvinder Ladar joining us again in the Bada Bing car. Is going to get P12 today. Christopher Storiano in 13th. Joshua Justice 14th. Martin Visser will take home 15th. Jesus Rodriguez will take home 16th. 17th is Brett Thompson. Rafael Bowley in 18th place. In 19th place, we have, my eyes will work, Stefan Westcott in 20th. Angel Soto. Wayne Buttermore will take 21st. Gary Kittle in 22nd. 23rd is Dan Chazinski in 24th. We have Brian Hansen. Michelle Lynn, series admin, in 25th. 26th, Nick Tullo. Stevie Ray of Ray Esports fame in 27th. 28th is Jason Grider. 29th will be Scott Brayler. And 30th, Ken Poulin. I don't believe Scott Brayler or Ken took the start.
Yeah, so those are your results for round number 4 of the Formula V Weekend Warriors here at Summit Point. A stormer of race. These drivers certainly treated us to a good one, but Josh, I will pass the mic off to you to have a chat with our race winner of Ian Joyner. He certainly had to fight for it. He may have spent a decent chunk of this race in the race lead, but it wasn't a lights of flag performance. He had to earn that one. So I'll pass the mic off to you to have a chat with the Brit behind the wheel of that victorious number 22 machine.
See if we can get him in the booth here. Ian shows up for the V race, takes the win. Pretty good one out there today. Not an easy one, though, necessarily. That was a lot of back and forth between you and Tor and that whole pack of cars back and forth there, but you were able to win that chess game out to the end. How'd you do it today, man?
Yeah, it worked out in the end. It's always a tough one, I think, racing V's at some point. It's great fun, but the packs are massive, and I think because everyone's got the approach for it, it's a 30-minute race as well. I don't see exactly how big it was, but I think the pack was at least 10 cars for ages, wasn't it? It felt like there was always just a stack of cars waiting to come through. So yeah, I mean, really, just the intention was to try and be in the fight towards the end. Managed to hang on. I think the way that last lap worked out was just fortunate. Really, it ended up with Sam between me and Tor just going onto the last lap. So I just had just enough going into the last corner. He would have needed to be tight to my bumper to get the draft to line. So yeah, it worked out today. I'll take that. It's fun. I don't think I've done a V Weekend Warriors before.
This might be the first
one. I've done a few
one.
V races, but yeah, probably the first Weekend Warriors one.
Excellent. Yeah, well, that was some great driving and stuff through some of the twisty bits and stuff too. Doing a lot of fighting out there. Like you said, there was a car. There was about 10, I believe, at one point, of 15 cars lined up, line astern behind you. It was 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide, and you were able to come out on top. Not an easy one out there. So, you're saying at the end, it kind of just works out at the end. Is that something you're planning? Like, obviously you want to be there at the end, and that's sort of, I would imagine, the goal throughout the race is, let's just kind of set myself up, see what happens so I can be here at the end. is that final sequence of events there, is that something you have planned out, or is it something that you're just kind of hoping works?
I suppose it's a little bit of both. The first thing is just trying to be in the top sort of 2 or 3, because you can't stay in front on the length of the straight here and the amount of draft. So all you can realistically do is stay in the top 3 and then try and time being front at the right time. I think I was leading, going to start in the white flag lap, and you can never. Sometimes if you get a big pack of people all kind of come through at the same time, that would have been really difficult. I think it's fortunate that it's only really me, Tor, and Sam at that point. And then it just I was able to give, I think, a bit of draft to Sam into turn 3, which just forced Tor and Sam to have a little fight. So really just taking the opportunity of them being side by side, and then you never know really until you're there how it's going to work out.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam Chapman as well, making up, I believe, 15 positions today, and onto the podium, making a run for the win there from way back in the pack. But I believe next time we are headed out to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Are you going to be with us for that one? That's a usually pretty interesting one, actually, in the Formula V's.
I don't think I've ever run there before. I'll look at it. I've intentionally been just doing different races throughout this season, so rather than kind of sticking with anyone. So I'm going to say probably not, but you never know. This was great fun. So I might be back for at least some point in the season.
Excellent, Ian. Well, it's great to have you here. It's great to have you around all the series here. Always good driving. Always a good interview. Is there anybody you'd like to thank here before we let you go?
Just shout out to the Weekend Warriors League. I think it's the first of any of the classes I've done this season. Thanks. And it's just really nice. It's such a great atmosphere. It's nice being on the voice comms with people, and just great driving by everyone. So thanks to all the field, thanks to the league, and thanks to you guys for letting me watch it back.
Awesome. Right on, Ian. Well, take care, man, and we'll catch you on the next one, either in SRFs, Vs, or an FF.
See you soon. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
And that right there was Ian Joyner, our race winner at the end of this race. Let's have a little chat, shall we, with Antonio Reese, our Masters winner at the end of it all. He put together one heck of a drive and was at the epicenter of some crazy moments, shall we say. Antonio Reese joining us here on the broadcast booth. Antonio, welcome in. Congratulations on the Masters win. That looked like a wild race. How about you talk us through your drive to get that top 5?
Oh, you just said everything. It was wild, really wild. I don't know. I was trying to be as clean as I could, not destroying anyone's race. I didn't want to get anyone in trouble because of my behavior. So I was trying to be as safe as I could, and then on the last few laps, me and Jim, we was battling side by side until the end. And then, it was a fun race, a lot of exciting. It was very exciting. And I really love to race with the guys. I was not, racing for win but I was just like to have fun with the guys. But it was really a lot of fun. Hey Ron, yes. By the way, nice to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to be back here in the booth. I didn't get to do any of the interviews last week. It was a very, very odd schedule that I had last Saturday. Thank God I don't have that today. But Antonio, it was certainly a fun one. We were treated to a good show here in the broadcast booth, and you and many of the other drivers out there on circuit gave us a good one. Next time out, though, in this series, we're going to be running at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course. Are we going to see you out there on the racetrack for that?
Yeah, I will be there. I will be there. Yeah, that track is a little bit different from this one.
Yeah, definitely a bit. And we've got some different tests tomorrow as well. Portland and Circuit of the Americas for the Formula Ford and Spec race for Ford Weekend Warriors. Last time we had a chat with you last weekend, you said that you were going to maybe consider buying those tracks. Are we actually going to see you out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did buy both of them, and then I did practice a little bit this week in both of the tracks. So I'm quite not confident, but I will be there. Just
SRF's going to be nuts.
It's going to be nice. Yeah,
the off tracks there are just crazy. Crazy
Yeah,
lines.
they
I'm
are. Oh,
worried about
Jesus.
it.
Yeah, it's true. Especially the one on the Cota, the Circuit of
Yeah.
America is crazy.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, so
Portland
many
also
off-tracks.
you can get, yeah. But yeah, nice tracks. I really enjoy those tracks. So yeah, I just bought it because I want to be there with the guys on the Sunday to have fun. You know, this community is so good. So we always have a good talk and a good race. So that's why I bought the tracks.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you out there on the racetrack for those races tomorrow, Antonio. But as always, we'll let you give any thank yous or shout outs before we let you go and celebrate the Masters win.
Yeah, big thanks to Andrew Love for sponsoring and you guys on the booth putting a amazing show every time, and for Steve Ray, and Jim Brewster and Michelle, the admins, and for all the drivers and for all the guys watching on the YouTube.
Yeah, thank you as well for joining us in the booth, Antonio. And we will see you out there on the racetrack tomorrow for the Formula Fords and Spec Racer Fords.
Yeah, hope to see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you. Okay, take care. Have a good one.
See you tomorrow, man. Good race.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antonio. That right there was our Masters winner of Antonio Reese joining us here in the broadcast booth. And Josh, I'll pass the mic off to you to have a chat with Series Admin and P2 finisher in the Masters category, that being Jim Brewster's. We just saw the other replay of what happened to Michelle Lynn in the early stages. We didn't really talk about that. It was a collision hang down to turn number 1. But anyways, I'll pass the mic off to you to have a chat with Jim.
Jim, another round at Summit Point, and you were able to come out with the P2 in Masters, I believe. Is that correct? P2 in Masters, P3
Yes.
in Masters, P2 in Masters.
And
right on. So
and top
yeah,
5. And
that was a great drive.
Man.
Yeah,
did
that
some-
was a
I did
great
some
drive, man.
passing.
You were right in the mix for sure the whole time there. It's, that was a good one.
So what's so crazy about this is that pack up front goes so slow through 3, 5, and 6 that the pack just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so you know and you're gritting your teeth, and you're on the, especially if you're on the back of that pack, it's like, man, I see them coming. Here they come. We're all gonna, you know. And then you start getting dive bombed from back, and you know it's really nice if you can just face forward. But if you got to be facing forward and facing back at the same time, you know, it's a little bit more work.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. And it was
So
a
you
lot of
see
that
we
today,
had
wasn't
some,
it?
We had some visitors. We had some of the Rocket Formula Ford guys come over and visit us.
Yeah, Sam
Yeah,
Chapman
Sam-
there, up 15 positions into P3. That was a good one.
He was the one that I saw coming. So at first when we had that gap, it was Kurt Nunez, which, you know, I'm worried about him because he's a master and I know he's fast. And then I see that all of a sudden Sam's leading the group. I said, oh, geez, now we got trouble. And sure enough, because with the pack, you just can't go through 3, 5, and 6 at full speed and keep that gap. The rest of the lap after 6, then it spreads out and you can maintain a gap. But then once you get back to, and even 1, I guess 1 was sort of bunches things up. But anyway, that was so much fun. I'm sure the show was great. I'm sure you guys were having some fun announcing. A couple of small incidents, you know, I see, you know, Guido got bumped at one point. I know Michelle disappeared at some point fairly early on, so it's unfortunate. But in general, I think we did really good. You know, this Friday night practice, then, you know, I think pays off. I was just talking to Ian about, you know, why I think Friday pays off on Saturday.
Yeah, and most definitely does. Around even on a track like this that we've been to so many times, the more practice you can get, you find those little nuances, and it looks like you're finding them out there, Jim. You're always up at the front these days. This was a really good one on Merritt out there as well, keeping it clean, keeping it up front, and able to get 5th overall and 2nd, I believe, in Masters. So pretty awesome race today. We're out, I believe, to Indianapolis Motor Speedway next time, the road course. Always
Andrew
pretty
picked
good
that.
in these things, I think. Yeah, so well, are you looking forward to that one?
So we're going to have to go practice. We're going to have to go
Yeah,
practice.
there you go.
You know what? It's been a couple seasons. Yeah, Andrew picked that one out. He was really looking forward to that. What do you think of Andrew getting pole today against this loaded crew?
I know,
that was, we were talking about doing .1s in practice, and all of a sudden he pulled off a 0.0 to grab that pole. And then I don't know if you remember, Guido hadn't run, so Guido was running real late. So we're just waiting to see Guido, come up and steal Andrew's pole, but he didn't. And so that just adds some more fun to it. But anyway, I hope Tam enjoyed this. I hope she was on the edge of her seat. And thanks for everything you guys do. Thank you, Andrew, for sponsoring today's race. And we'll see you guys in Indianapolis. We'll pack up the cars. Somebody was new last night, and Michelle was telling them the way we race here is that we want to pack our cars up at the end of the day on our trailer and drive out of here with our car still in one piece. I think George guy didn't show up today, but he was a new guy last night, George something.
Oh, hopefully we'll see him.
She goes, that's how we race. We want to roll our cars back on the trailer at the end of the day and be able to drive down the road and go to the next race. So,
hey, well, hopefully cool we can make that happen. It is definitely, for sure. Hopefully we can make that happen tomorrow as well. But we'll see you next time, Jim. Thanks for all the kind words there, and we'll catch you on the next round.
Come out on Friday night again. I keep offering you. Come out Friday and just get.
I'm gonna make it one of these times. I promise. Definitely will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything, man.
Got to get out there with you guys. Yeah, you too, Jim. Thanks here. Bye-bye.
And that right there was Jim Brewster, our P2 finisher in the Masters category. Josh, I'm going to say, we always expect the drama and chaos here at Summit Points. That one was extra special. It did something that I don't think a broadcast has done for me in a while. It blew out my voice.
Oh, no. Yeah, well, it's not often, right? When you're going 4 wide, 6 wide every lap for 30 minutes, it can be a little bit difficult for sure, but maybe I'll take over a little bit for your voice here at the end. And we do have some upcoming stuff coming. I'm not exactly sure this is, and it is. It's actually up to date. What do you know? Tomorrow, our double feature for the F1600s is going to be at Portland. I don't believe many of us have been there before. So that's going to be a very interesting one in the FS not to miss. Spec Racer for it at Circuit of the Americas at NASCAR West is basically a piss take on track limits, so that one's going to be a pretty interesting one. I've been doing some practice there this week, and I have a feeling there's going to be 4 or 5 different interpretations of exactly how that track is run tomorrow, so it should be an interesting one. I have a pretty fast lap around there. I'm expecting to be facing backwards and in the wall by the end of the first lap. American Muscle Series on Tuesday, April 14th. Is going to be at the Nordschleife. This is the final round of the AMS series, double points at the Nordschleife VLN. Love it, hate it. It's got double points, and make sure you tune in for that one. Some of the drivers do love that place. Some of them do not like the Nordschleife, which is always going to make things very interesting. FIA F4 also on Tuesday. Directly after that at Fuji, another love-or-hate track for some of those drivers as well. The F4 guys really stepping up their game lately. Racecraft has been excellent out there. That should be an interesting one for them as well. And then Dallara F3s at Portimao, also another interesting track. F3 guys, always fun to watch. And then we're back, Formula V's Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and we re-rack it and reload it again for the next weeks after that. I do believe we have some other upcoming shows. I don't have the graphic for it, but we do have some stuff coming up in May we'll touch on shortly as well. But Ron, I'll let you wrap it up here at the end of this one. Maybe if you got a little bit left in your voice there, we can wrap up Summit Point. That was an exciting one, man.
Oh, we're fine. I'll always have some sort of fuel left in the tank, even if I sound like Richard Dawson in the early 1990s version of the reboot of Family Feud. Oh, but the event that Josh was talking about a few moments ago is the Ken the Adam W.E. Step Memorial Scholarship.
Oh, you know what?
Race.
I do have the graphic. I'm going to put
Mustang
it up right now.
GT3 cars running a little bit later on this year. That'll be on May 30th at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Entries are still open for that event. You can join, watch here on the channel, and donate as well through the QR codes on screen right now. Our very own Weekend Warriors, Mr. Charles Bochelle, will be out there on the racetrack for that. And along with that, we have also got the action from the Grand Prix Tour Porsche Cup Series. Originally, we were just going to broadcast the Major Championship event at Road America back on March the 9th, as well as the Season Championship at Suzuka. However, we're also going to be covering their second to last race of the season, Race 9 at Portimao. That'll be on May the 4th. So another good reason to subscribe here to Slow Motion Broadcasting so you never miss out on any of the racing action from Formula V's and Spec Racer Fords and Formula Fords in the Weekend Warriors, the American Muscle Series Mustangs, F4 for F3 and Porsche Cup cars. We have got you covered. A lot of action coming up here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, and as well tomorrow here. Again, gives you a good reason to subscribe. But as for this broadcast here tonight, round number 4 of the Formula V Weekend Warriors at Summit Point, that will do it. So for myself, Ron Maunz, and Josh Wilkie working the comms and the cams with me on this show, I say thank you all so very much for tuning into the action on Slow Motion Broadcasting today, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.